Can I tell you a story? I'd like to tell you a story. This is the story of Gregory. He's committed several felonies in 9 states. His biggest crime? His shoulders are just too big. But for all his faults, he makes them up with knowledge. He reads volumes of literature. He wears elaborate suits. He commits crimes. Gregory is not a very good person. He owns this parcel of land, which once supported a prosperous village. The buildings are all gone now. But do not ask Gregory what happened. The important thing is that we put them all back before anybody notices. Our first mission will be to give Gregory a home. It'll be elaborate but utilitarian. It'll be large but cozy. It'll be the seed from which an entire village will sprout as a bountiful forest. You may also notice that we have a sizable starting capital. Canonically, this comes from our past crimes. Gregory was not a very nice person, remember. We're going to help him turn a new leaf, though, during this project, to give back to the community that he's wronged. As I said, Gregory spends his time in the entrails of literature and philosophy. There's a phrase I really cherish that is as then, as of now, forever. The past is always chasing the present, and the future will inevitably come. The boundaries need not matter, only how you treat yourself today. For what you've already learned doesn't define you, the endeavors you choose will. To live is to suffer, and to build is to create. To live is to create yourself. To suffer is to be born Gregory. For this endeavor will define who Gregory will become. He will welcome all that will come, and will certainly try to not do crime anymore. Today in Bloxburg, we're just going to be building a simple house. The eventual goal with this project is just to fill the entire plot with a town, city, village kind of thing, modeled off of European cities, towns, though I'm not entirely sure what's going to go where. I definitely know I want to have a church with like a massive spire, but beyond that, anything is fair game. Recently, I started watching some other content creators on this game and learned that this game has changed a lot since it started out. The placement grid now allows for the smallest details to be subtly placed, but do not mistake that as a compliment of this game, but we'll talk about that later. Regardless, we're going to take advantage of these precise systems, but we must take care. Something seemingly as basic as a window can quickly become an infinite project with infinitely smaller details. But our goal isn't to rush through things either. I always get a little frustrated when I push myself along to finish things quicker. In exercise science, they tell you never to focus on the speed. The faster you exercise, the more that is sacrificed. The faster you build, the more opportunities that are lost. The modus operandi is to focus on form, to ensure you're doing the exercise correctly, to prevent injury. If you're feeling tired, take a break. Taking that step away can make a big difference. Building an entire town will make anybody tired, but when you break into smaller tasks, the challenge is surmountable. All of these windows won't be too big of a deal because they're really 2 sets of windows, each sharing like parts. The house we're building today is one I found online a little while ago. The most challenging parts will be the dormers, but it'll all culminate into a wonderful product. For a Victorian home, it really doesn't have a lot of the intricate exterior details you might see for that sort of home. Which is good, because I want to ease myself back into the game. On the right of the front facade, we'll be building like a turret, tower, and then in the center will be a massive central tower. It'll make sense when you see it. The most important detail for me to get right, though, are the roof dormers, but we'll get to that later. To Gregory, every detail is important. Every detail can tell a story. Our front porch will tell of his childhood. This chair tells of his schooling. Our window trims will tell of the story of his past crimes. We may not get them right at first, but we must succeed. Success requires going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Just look at how happy Gregory is. Sitting up here just gives me so much joy. Just being able to enjoy something that didn't exist before, even if it isn't finished. Just knowing that you're the reason it exists, it's wonderful. Something doesn't have to be perfect for it to be enjoyed. That's why you're not going to ask about our window arches. Let me show you all the features of the house. You can open the door. You can walk inside. Realize there's nothing inside? Close the door. Like I said, I stumbled upon the image for this house online, but it no longer exists. This is John Houghton's house in Austin, Texas. It was built in the 1800s and was a fine Victorian mansion for its day. Or really any day. The Victorian style never really went out of style, and I think most would agree. The home was bulldozed for a parking garage in the 70s, all the while apparently the city was attempting to put together a plan to actually save the house. And so a parking garage stands there today, and the home was never saved. In this build, I hope to pay my respects to John Houghton and his house, for his home will live on and take a new purpose. The architecture of homes are fun, but lost architecture is way more fascinating in this way. We can always replicate, but you can never replace. The original mansion is gone. All we can do now is protect what is left, to inflame the memory so it's not lost a final time. Of course, I won't be able to get every detail perfect, and I won't try to. I'll take liberties wherever I need to accommodate the unforgiving nature of this game's systems. In particularly rough areas, I'll blame Gregory's mere presence for our misfortune. But we're doing rather well so far. Gregory gives and Gregory takes away. We placed his home here because he doesn't deserve a riverside plot. He gives the good land to others, while he takes away the reward of learning carpentry. I know some of you may call it realistic real life, but I seriously question a lot of the choices this game has made in the past few years. I know I'm not the first to say it, and certainly won't be the last, but the focus on price and money in this game has reached levels of absurdity. The transform element for basic shapes charges way too much, like an absurd amount. I don't think you'd find anybody disagreeing with that for what it is. But if you feel anything I've said is unfair, please correct me. And this criticism assumes you're playing Bloxburg for the building aspect exclusively, which I know does not include all players. I know role-playing is big in this game, and I don't mean to belittle or diminish that part of the fun for people. I remember I would play games like this all the time, and that kind of stuff sticks with you, so don't let me tell you what to do. But I'm extremely happy with how everything on the home has turned out so far. You'll see a lot of the same details get carried over throughout the rest of the build, and that's just because we've done most of the work already. It's a bit of a copy-paste fest now, and you probably aren't too interested in seeing all that. Now, our eventual goal with this plot is to put as many buildings as we can fit. It'll be an elaborate game of Pop the Pig. We want it to feel busy, but not overcrowded. Each building should complement its neighbor, each with a full interior. Gregory will treat this plot as he treats his brain. We do not have the luxury of infinite space. We need to utilize every square inch. The brain is as a library for you to draw upon, so fill it wisely. I sincerely hope you continue on this journey with Gregory. Next time, I'll probably try to figure out what I'm going to do for the church, but I haven't decided anything yet. I know there's not an interior to the house yet, but we've done enough work for one day, and that's worth celebrating. We'll leave it for another time. The important part is we finished the exterior, which is a huge accomplishment for the first day. For now, I'll leave you with a thought from a story I read recently. I used to look at art a lot differently, always observing the finished piece and never bothering to read into the context or the history of it. As an outsider, you only get to see the end result, but if you really start to look into artists' lives, there's always some sort of tragedy. But, you might ask, how can someone create such beautiful art without whatever they lost? Or what they never had? It's because they don't worship the ashes, and they make something new because of it. And you should too.